starting with some college football, as we alluded to. Keon Coleman, former Michigan State wide receiver, now Florida State star wide receiver, 3 touchdowns in his debut last night against LSU. Primetime game, 2 top 10 teams. And man, Keon bet on himself, and Keon seems to have hit a huge parlay on himself. That's how I feel right now. He pretty much explicitly said it. You might know a little more than me on the specifics, so I'll let you speak to it. But when he left Michigan State, it didn't seem as if he left on the best terms. There was some flirtation with, is he going to come back to Michigan State or not? And it kind of the whole, like, don't let the door hit you on the way out type thing. He sort of slammed the door on himself a little bit. He said some things about Michigan State he did not need to say, that did not paint his time at Michigan State in the most positive light. I believe he said he completed his 2-year sentence in East Lansing, and now he's heading to Tallahassee. Well, I'm just going to say it from my perspective, and you can agree or disagree. I don't care, but he looked like a totally different guy to me. We knew he was like a 50-50 ball. He's going to go up and beat you. We knew he could do that, but I never for a second after watching this guy for 2 years in East Lansing felt that he had best wide receiver in the country potential. After seeing him last night, I don't know who you'd put ahead of him on paper. So one night in, seems like it was a decent decision. What do you make of Keon Coleman's huge night? And were you sitting there hurting, like I know some Michigan State fans were watching this happen?
Yeah, I guess it's twofold for me. One, I wasn't hurting because what was he supposed to do? Like, is he supposed to stay in East Lansing and play with Noah Kim or play with guys that are just that you don't know anything about truly? And he loses his quarterback in Peyton Thorne, and he doesn't want to stay in a situation where he's playing with another unproven quarterback. You really have a certain amount of years too as a college football player. Like, you got to play 3 years of college or 2.5, whatever it is, before you even enter. So there's like a really small window, and you're getting miles on your legs as a football player. He's in a great situation. I mean, Jordan Travis is damn near 26 years old. He's played a lot of football. He's a good quarterback. I saw a funny tweet the other day, though, that I just want to bring up. Someone said that Jordan Travis is Caleb Williams if Caleb Williams wasn't good. And I can't unsee that. But, like, Jordan Travis is, like, I would say good. He's a good quarterback, obviously. But I think you see now what kind of dynamic receiver Keon can be when he has some pretty good – when he has better quarterback play. So, credit to him. Obviously, I was texting you. I'm like, Florida State might actually be a college football playoff like favorite, like winner in my book. And Keon's one of the best receivers in the country.
Yeah,
is what it is.
Yeah,
Michigan State cannot claim Keon. Let that be known.
Really?
He left.
Okay, is that like I guess I'm interested in fleshing that out a little more, because, like, it's one of those things where I don't think you can blame the kid. Maybe you can say you don't like the decision or you don't like the way he handled publicly his comments on it. But I don't think anyone can sit here objectively and say, like, that was a bad decision by Keon Coleman.
Oh, no.
For the
It was a
reasons
good decision. And also, just to reiterate, when I say we can't claim him, it's more so we can't claim him as like, oh, you see what we do? Like, this is Michigan State wide receivers. Like, no. Did we play a bit? Did we play maybe a bit in his development? Yes. Did we maybe hinder his development? You could probably make the argument that we probably did by what we put around him or the play calling. But you can't blame the kid for leaving for a better situation. That's what it is. Maybe it hurts more when they leave for a worse situation. But I also saw a tweet that was funny. Is someone said this is what Wake Forest fans must have felt like when they were watching Kenneth Walker's season.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
So this is the era of college sports, though. It's like the transfer portal giveth and then the transfer portal taketh away. And you better make sure that your program is in a healthy enough spot that it's appealing to your stars to stay and maximize their potential. And I will make a comparison. I made the comparison on Twitter last night, but Cart, this is like 1-for-1 what Michigan's going through with Hunter Dickinson right now. And I know people have compared Michigan State football to Michigan basketball. There's no one on earth that's a fan of those two the way I am. Like, I'm sitting at home getting double hurt while everybody else victory laps the other one and makes jokes at the other people's expense. This sucks for me double. The truth is, Hunter Dickinson made the right decision. He went from a bad program that did nothing to put him in positions to succeed to one of the best in the country, and he's going to be a first-team All-American probably. Keon Coleman, I don't like Florida State football isn't what Kansas basketball is, but Keon Coleman left the spot where he wasn't put in a position to succeed, and now is front and center looking like one of the best players in the country
on a top 10 team.
On a top 10 team at a place that's giving him more money. So, and I think people can step back and you can kind of summarize and just be like, oh, it's money, but it's not just money. That's the thing. It is money. Hunter Dickinson is making more at Kansas than he would have made at Michigan and probably a lot of other places. Keon Coleman is making more at Florida State than he would have made at Michigan State and probably a lot of other places. But these transfers were much more about what Michigan basketball and Michigan State football failed to do for these guys. They failed to put them in positions to be on winning teams, shining individually. Even if Hunter Dickinson was great individually, Michigan basketball wasn't going to be anything great last year because of the flaws of the roster around him. Even if Keon Coleman was fantastic last year, when at times he was, Michigan State football was barely going to make a bowl game. So like at a broader sense, you got to step back and realize it's on the staffs more than anything. And I know people like to pick out Peyton Thorne. You and I disagree on this very strongly. I don't think Peyton Thorne was good last season at all. I think he was good the season before it. But implicitly, when you say Peyton Thorne failed Keon Coleman and that was the problem, you imply that there was a solution on the roster at quarterback, and there wasn't. Even if Peyton Thorne was bad, he was the best option. That should be abundantly clear after watching Noah Kim and Kaiten Hauser in game one.
Can I ask you something? If Peyton Thorne stayed at Michigan State, does Keon still leave?
I don't know.
Yes, he 1,000% still leaves.
So this is what I was going to ask you, because I don't know the dynamics of like did those two get along or not? I know there were rumors they didn't.
Well, it was more so rumor they didn't get along because of Peyton's play.
Wasn't it more that just Peyton like preferential treatment to Jaden Reed because they were boys?
No, it was more so like his actual play. Like he didn't. I mean, I guess it correlates because it correlates to touches and throws.
Okay.
But it was just more so like he wasn't making. Obviously, if you put it near Keon, you see what he can do. Like Jordan Travis is I would say a good quarterback. I don't think he's all worldly. You give him a chance to make plays. You give him some, and obviously play calling factors into that too. And I do think you make a good point about that. It's not all on Peyton Thorne. I think sometimes that gets lost in the translation when we argue it. It's not all Peyton Thorne's fault. Peyton Thorne was part of the problem, but there was also other people that were part of the problem.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the quarterbacks are the solution, but we don't even know if they're part of the problem yet. We're going to find out. They might be.
I think we've seen enough to say they're not a solution. That would be where I differ from you. And if you want to wait another month,
can they be not the solution, but also not part of the problem? Can they be in the middle of that? Can they just be there?
I just think it's like it's hard for me to map all of the criticisms because it's easy to scapegoat Thorne because he's gone, right? Everybody else you would scapegoat is still in the room. Jay Johnson is still in the room. Mel Tucker is still in the room. The backup quarterbacks are still in the room, and now they're not the backups. So if you're going to blame someone, might as well blame the guy who left, right? I get that. You also were a winning football team and beat Michigan with him when he was healthy the season before. So I'm not here saying Peyton Thorne was good. Like, let me be clear about that. I'm not saying he was good. But it's hard. Like, a lot of the same people who are blaming Peyton Thorne have been loud that, oh, Kaiten Hauser's the answer. And then they were silent when we saw 3 plays of Kaiten Hauser, and he almost turned it over twice.
Yeah, that was tough.
So I just think like, and even say those people were right, by the way, like if Kaiten Hauser was truly the answer here, it's such an indictment on Mel Tucker and Jay Johnson that they wouldn't be able to see that. Like if there was an obvious quarterback who was better than Peyton Thorne, then your coaching staff's horrible for not identifying that and figuring it out last season. I tend to, even though I'm a big critic of Mel Tucker, I tend to think they know who the best quarterback in the room is. Like, I don't think they're playing the wrong guy here. I just don't think any of these quarterbacks are any good. So we'll see what happens. The the tough part is the one thing Noah Kim is good at is throwing fades. And that's all you need to do with Keon, right? Like if he was back here, we just dial up 100 fades. He's probably
University of fades. We're just handing out fades and running fades.
I don't get it, man. What do you think? How does this end for Keon? Like, obviously he's not going to have 3 touchdowns every single week, but is this like a first team All-American season, first round draft pick loading?
Oh yeah, I think it's I was surprised that I think I can't remember what publication actually put it up, but it shocked me when I first saw it. Someone had him like in the 15 range as far as like where he'd be picked. I guess I was just out of the loop on that. I didn't really see him in that range, but he's gonna have a dynamic season. Florida State has a really good team too. Like they just got like Keon Coleman, 6'4", 40-inch vertical. They got a receiver who's 6'8", who can't catch slants, but he could make the most amazing catches of all time. Then they got like Jaheim Bell. They got a really good football team. So I think it's going to be a All-American type, probably flirting with a Blitnikoff Award maybe type season for him.
Okay. It could happen. I'll say that. I think there's a little fall back to earth at some point for Keon. Like I guess I just never, from watching him all at Michigan State, and I don't think it was all the situation's fault. I never saw like that dude's an NFL superstar waiting to happen.
Yeah, the most crazy thing that I saw last night, because I guess as a Michigan State fan, I expected like the fades. Like that's what Keon does. You throw him a fade route. He's 6'4", he's a big body, he's athletic as hell. He'll go up and catch it over the guy. They had him returning punts. He caught that one slant route, the first touchdown he had, and like was making moves and got to the end zone and like took off. I was like, shit, this guy's dynamic. So I guess it's more of we will have to see if that dynamicness continues. But if he's doing all what he was doing in the first game, like he's special.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I hate to even go here, but I'm going to. You have repeatedly, when the opportunity has presented itself, when we do the Hunter Dickinson conversation, you have repeatedly brought up the concept of, are you worried that Terrace Reed either has a good year, but the team doesn't, or somebody comes in and takes some minutes from Terrace and Terrace leaves?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't there a little back of your mind right now that Jaron Glover, like if I'm Jaron Glover, am I not sliding into Mike Norvell's DMs after game one? Like,
oh, I'm always scared.
I guess like, cause I'm just trying to, like, if I'm Michigan State, my number one priority is at the end of this season, people have to view your program as healthy enough they want to come back.
True. But also different people had different type of mindsets. Keon's different. Keon's different mentally.
Keon's a run from the grind. Is that what you're saying?
Not a run from the grind, but he's a run from something. I'm not going to comment on this podcast.
Run from what?
Just shout out to all the good fathers out there.
Oh my God. Jesus, man. Y'all, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That's rumors. I don't know. I'm just saying.
That's crazy.
It's not always run from the grind, but no, what I really wanted to say with that is that some people, I don't know, maybe like carry themselves as like, and they should, like a superstar. Like he wants to go be a superstar. He wants to go be the guy. Not everyone carries himself like that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like he wants the big lights. He wants to play in Florida State. He wants to, people culture appropriate and shit. Like he loves that. He wants that. Not everyone wants that.
Loves cultural appropriation.
Some people want that.
You don't think the next guy up is thinking superstar? That's not a goal of a.
I'm scared for every player in the country to leave, especially if I'm Michigan State and we don't have money.
I think I'm the problem. It's me. Hi. I'm the problem.
Is Mel Jawan Howard?
There's a lot of comparisons here. I think one of them's a much better coach than the other, though. It's my true feeling.
Which one?
I'll leave it at that.